A lot of you have asked how I go about making a vlog. Well, I can't really answer that yet because it's 5 o'clock in the morning in Edinburgh, and there's usually at this point quite a lot of pissed people around who take the piss out of me for staring into a camera and talking. But the other reason I can't tell you, I haven't done any preparation. So this is why you usually get a lot more of these shots, because I haven't worked out what I'm going to say. What I've learned over the last year is the secret to a good monologue is in the preparation. So actually, the beginning of the process starts here on the train when I actually write what I'm going to say. First, I determine what the question is. Then I guess I work out my answer, which is usually fuck that, before settling on a counter argument that doesn't render this vlog into a petri dish of seething, resentful negativity. I also determine whether it's going to be a linear monologue or non-linear when I do things out of sequence. This one's going to be linear, which is more difficult because I can't do pickups, so I have to reshoot some footage that hasn't worked. These are also a good point to grab a nice bit of kind of establishing footage. I was going to make that time lapse, but we got cute dog instead. So I make each line shorter and say it twice. So I make each line shorter and say it twice. With all of these things in mind, I then work up a script. I then email this to myself so I can take cues from my phone. They're just that, cues. I don't really learn the script verbatim because I think in order to give a genuine and less contrived delivery, I think it's better not to kind of be totally wired to the script. So yesterday, do a final check on the camera, prepare all that because I tend to get up very early and you have a tendency to forget stuff. So 2 fully charged batteries and then a 256 gigabyte SD card. I've never used that, but it just makes me feel confident. Then I just check through all of the settings, auto ISO, 150 degrees, shutter priority, and autofocus on. I also check the battery of the microphone and check that's all sorted. I'm not taking the lav mic with me because it's too complicated a day, and I'm doing a linear monologue. It's just too much for my head. I need to be locked and loaded because you know it's a long day, a lot of like complicated travelling, and I've got to do a day's work as well whilst also creating this vlog. So everything kind of needs to be prepared so I can just run and gun. But what I didn't realise is that I did a 3-camera shoot with Jake Jackson the day before yesterday, and I inadvertently swapped my 2 GH5. The one you're looking at now is the GH5S. Now this is my regular, no, this is my, oh no. Yes, so this is my regular walking around camera, which is set up for a kind of point and click and shoot kind of thing. And this is set up mainly for interior work. So you'll notice a lot of this vlog is overexposed. So much so, I nearly abandoned it. But I thought, well, you can see the kind of pitfalls that I fall into as well. I don't know, it's akin to doing all of that with a 5-year-old child with you. So you're having to just concentrate that little bit harder and everything just takes that little bit longer, which is why you don't get much B-roll out of me. Towards the end of the day, I work out how many lines I've still got to say and plan the locations where I'm going to say these lines, because travelling is repetitious, so you know where you're going to be. But it's always nice to nick a line or two, because when I get across the line, the sooner I can relax. And doing vlogs on these days is it's quite stressful and really tiring. Whilst also being aware that I want to deliver a monologue throughout the complete day to give you a sense of the journey that I've been on as well. Because it kind of starts with a grumpy opinion and I kind of work through it. It's kind of like therapy. And so endeth a long day. It's midnight now. Started at 5:40 in the morning. Tomorrow, post-production. Last night, took out the SD card into the back of the iMac and just transfer the files. That's usually all I have time for because I'm so sleepy. But if I can be disciplined, I'll drag it into a new session so it can ingest and create proxies. I work in 4K, really big files. These iMacs are capable of editing direct from the 4K files, but the laptops aren't, and also you can't scrub, so that's kind of move around and see where you are. So what I do is create proxies at 720p, and that is a very time-consuming process. It it took this computer about 2 hours for the kind of 40 gig of footage that we made that you saw earlier. So then it's simply a case of dragging it all in, and then basically the first pass is to select which take of each line I'm going to use and just kind of knit that together. So first I determine what the question is. Then I guess I work out my answer, which is usually fuck that. And this is the point that I apply my light up tables, which is basically a grading. So I shoot a flat image that looks like this, and then if you introduce a light up table, it then looks like this. The second pass is a tightening pass, and I'm always really surprised at how close I need to get my cuts. First I determine what the question is. Then I guess I work out my answer, which is usually fuck that. And if I'm cutting mid-sentence, what I found is to cut on a consonant is better than between words. So yesterday, my third pass is an audio pass. So what I do is I go to every clip and make sure it's of a level, and then I crossfade each of the clips, and then I'll apply, provided there's no music on this, I'll apply an overall kind of compression, maybe a little bit of de-esser depending on the microphones I've used, etc, etc. That process for something like this usually takes me an hour and a half, and then it takes about 20 minutes to export, upload to YouTube, and I find a nice frame, convert it to black and white, and make a thumbnail out of that. The last piece of the puzzle is the title, and it's surprising how much impact this can have on the success of a video. I think a good example is 105, the last film I did, which is a mic shoot off and a quick visit of the new Spitfire HQ. Microphones haven't performed well in the past, and I think, you know, walking around a building site is fairly boring, so I titled it A Sneak Peek plus My Bad Sound. A sneak peek, maybe it's Eric Whittaker, maybe it's a new library, something that I've been up to. And My Bad Sound, I've just found that putting negative kind of connotations into titles mean that the video scores a lot better. Contrived, I know, but such is the game of clickbait. I hope this has given a brief insight into my process and gives you a kind of idea of maybe why I only just do the 2 a week, because basically it occupies, not fully, but it does occupy 4 days of my week, and there's quite a lot of other stuff for me to think about. I enjoy it thoroughly, and learning how to edit has been a fascinating process. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. If you like what I do, hit like. If you haven't subscribed yet, have a go at hitting subscribe. And if you want to be notified about me putting up new videos, hit the little bell button. See you again next time.